Members of council, could you please, and staff, could you please take your seats? I count 19 in the room. Perfect. Okay, members of council, I will call this meeting to order for our council meeting of November 27th, 2024. Members of council, today, as we go into a moment of personal reflection, I ask that you keep Tracy Dunford family in mind. Tracy was in our paramedics division and she passed away on November 6th. And Karen Cherry and her family, she was in our business affairs team and she passed away on November 7th. Tracy had worked for the region for 33 years and Karen had worked for the region for 16 years. Please join me in a moment of personal reflection. Thank you. Councillor Crawford?
Mention that Councillor Pat Brown passed away on Friday, I believe it was, and the funeral is very suddenly. The funeral is on Friday, and the viewing is on Thursday, 2 to 4 and 7 to 9.
Okay, thank you. And McKechnie's in Ajax. Okay, thank you. Members of council, the region of Durham exists on lands that the Mississauga and Anishbeg inhabited for thousands of years prior to European colonization. These lands are the traditional and treaty territories of the nations covered under the Williams Treaties, including the Mississaugas of Scugog Island First Nation, Alderville First Nation, Hiawatha First Nation, Curve Lake First Nation, and the Chippewan nations of Georgina Island, Beausoleil, and Rama. We honor, recognize, and respect the Indigenous peoples as the rights holders and stewards of the lands and waters on which we have the privilege to live. On our efforts towards reconciliation, we continue to build and strengthen relationships with First Nations, as well as the large Métis community and growing Inuit community here in Durham. We commit to learning from Indigenous values and knowledge and building opportunities for collaboration and recognizing that we're all connected. Mr. Clerk, roll call, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Electronic roll call is starting now.
I don't see Willie in the meeting, do you? Okay. Okay, we have quorum. Declarations of interest. Councillor Wu, you have a declaration on confidential report 2024-A-15, QP Local 1764 from the October meeting. You probably knew that, but I just wanted to remind you. Can you state your declaration, please?
Yes, Chair Henry, I have a declaration of interest with confidential report number 2024-A-15 of the Commissioner of Corporate Services. It has to deal with the employee and labor relation negotiations with respect to CUPE Union Local 1764. I have a member of the family that is in the Social Services Department who is under Local 1764. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other declarations? Seeing none. Members of council, just a reminder that Monday, December 1st to 7th is Shop in Durham Week, and there will be a proclamation and flag raising on December 2nd at 9 a.m. And that Monday, December 3rd is International Day of Persons with Disability, and there'll be a flag raising Monday, December 2nd at noon. So members of council, I hope you're interested. There is something in the center of the council chambers, and I don't believe this has ever been done before. And I am so proud to do this, so I'm gonna let you know what it is. So on November 17th, the Toronto Argonauts of the Canadian Football League won the 111th Grey Cup and became the champions for the 19th time when they defeated the Winnipeg Blue Bombers by a score of 41-24. Founded in 1873, the Argonauts are the oldest existing professional sports team in North America, still using its original name, and have had many residents of Durham region play for the team over the years. I am happy to say that because of Bill and Barbara Howe, please stand up, offering to bring the Grey Cup to Durham region today, I am proud to unveil the Grey Cup in the council chambers this morning. And for any members of council who wish to join me in the center shortly for a photo, I welcome you to do that. Thank you again to Bill and Barbara Howe and the Toronto Argonauts organization for bringing the Grey Cup to Durham region, and congratulations on your win. But the person that just unveiled that cup is Liram Halalaja, the star kicker for the Toronto Argonauts. And I was lucky enough to meet him when I came into the council chambers and got a chance to admire his ring, which is as big as my hand. So members of council, if you would like to gather, and we'll invite our star kicker to the center, we'll grab a quick photo, and then we'll give them an opportunity to collect the cup and take it with them so that we can get on with a football game right here in this chamber today. So please join me. This- So, so for members of council, if you could return to your seats, the couple be in the hallway for a few minutes if staff would like to go out and get a picture taken. Not printed.
Right here.
Okay. Uh,
Safe trip. See you next year.
So what an excellent way to start the morning. And just one other quick announcement before we get into the agenda, that Durham Region's United Way campaign and its mission to create lasting change in our community is holding an event on Thursday, December 5th at the Maple Brews Coffee Shop in Whitby. And the shop will donate 50% of all proceeds to help fund United Way initiatives that provide support to those who need it most. I appreciate our Commissioner Brian Bridgman for organizing this. And members of council, if you can, I would like to see you there. And if you're there when I'm there, I'll buy your coffees. I also wanted to let you know that today the Grey Cup's in Oshawa for a little bit of time. It's off to Durham College next, but then it's going to Grandview Kids Center today. Well, it's great to have it here, but I want you to know that it wasn't just here for the day. They'll be all over the region. I'm going to turn to the agenda and go to the adoption of the minutes. There are two sets of minutes meetings, 4.1, 4.2. Councillor Marin Pietri, I'm looking for a second, or Councillor Gerard. On the minutes, all those in favor? In opposition? Seeing none, that carries. Members of council, there are no presentations. Delegations. Councillor Anderson?
Motion to change the rules so I can hear the delegation.
Okay, well, first of all, you
Go
have
to
to
vote.
say who the delegation is, and it's suspension of the rules, and the vote will need 2/3. Do you have a seconder? Okay,
Yeah,
so,
Councilor Anderson, yeah, Karina Trail.
okay.
Yeah, recorded vote.
So a recorded vote on the suspension of the rules. Mr. Clerk, We'll call that vote.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Recorded vote on the motion to suspend the rules to add an unscheduled delegation is starting now.
The necessary, it takes 2/3. Mr. Clerk, the vote was 15 no, 13 yes. The 2/3 wasn't, you didn't get 2/3, so it is defeated. Okay, we'll move on to communications. There are no communication items. Reports related to delegation presentation. There are no reports related to delegation presentations. We'll move on to our committee meetings. Mr. Clerk, can I have the sheets, please? Just give me 1 second. Okay, we'll move on to Finance and Administration Committee, moved by Councillor Leahy. Is Councillor Leahy online? Okay, and seconded, I need a seconder from the Finance Committee. Councillor McDougall. That recommendations contained in items 1 to 4, inclusive of report number 7 of the Finance and Administration Committee, be adopted. Polls. Online? Seeing none, we'll call the vote. All those in favor? In opposition? Seeing none, that carries. Okay. We'll move Councillor Dyes, moved by Councillor Dyes. We need a seconder from Health. Mayor Carter. The recommendations contained in items 1 and 2 of report number 8 of the Health and Social Services Committee be adopted. Polls. Online? Seeing none, I'll call the vote. All those in favor? In opposition? Seeing none, that carries. We'll move on to Works. Moved by Mayor Barton, seconded by Councillor Marion Pietri, that recommendation contained in items 1 to 3, inclusive of report number 8 of the Works Committee, be adopted. Polls. Online? Seeing none? Call the vote. All those in favor? In opposition? Seeing none, that carries. Move on to the Committee of the Whole report. There was no Planning and Economic Development Committee report. Committee of the Whole report located on page 38 of your agenda. Are you moving it?
No, I had a question on planning. Although there was no report, I was still able to ask the question.
Yeah, we'll do Cal and come back to you. I need a mover and a seconder. Moved by Councillor Chapman. Seconded by Councillor Shahid. That recommendations contained in items 1 to 7, inclusive report number 8 of the Committee of the Whole, be adopted. Polls. Seeing none, I'll call the vote. All those in favor? In opposition? Seeing none, that carries. We'll go on to departmental reports. Okay, we'll do questions to committee. Counselor Neal?
I did have a question in regards to planning, although there was no report, but I emailed staff today because I wanted to know how the tariffs were going to affect Durham region that they're talking about down in the States. Is there a brief, something briefly that can be told to us today from our staff in regards to how, overall, how that might affect? I know how it's going to affect Oshawa, but I don't know how it's going to affect the rest of the region.
So our Director of Economic Development has put together a briefing note. We're just going through it now, and when we're done, we will make sure that all members of council get a copy of it.
Okay, that's fine.
Okay.
Appreciate that. Thank you.
Any other questions to any of the other committees? If not, we'll move on to
Is it too late to bring anything up at Works under the Works Committee, or?
Now is your time, Councillor Neal.
Okay. I would like to request that the Works Committee report on the incinerator, the report on the incinerator, what number was that? Be referred back to staff.
It's too late, Councillor Neal.
Okay. Yeah, well, I wanted to hear the delegation first, but,
Well, the item, when we went through it, you had a chance to pull it. You didn't pull it. It passed. Okay, thank you. All right, so if members of council, just give me a chance to catch up on pages. So the next item is it's a departmental report. It's a 10.1. It's a report from Transit, report number 2024-DRT-20. It's a supplementary report to the 2024 DRT-19 2025 transit fares. Can I get a mover on the recommendation, please? Could the Chair of Transit move that, please? Moved by Councillor Crawford, seconded by Councillor Garag. The report's now on the floor. Questions? Excuse me. Councillor Nicholson?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just as you request a recorded vote.
Okay, thank you. Record a vote at the appropriate time, Mr. Clerk. Is there anyone else wishing to speak to this? Seeing none, then I will call for that recorded vote now.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Recorded vote is starting now.
Thank you for this.
Looking for Councillor Neal. Thank you.
$25 yes, 3 no, that carries. Members of council, 10.2 is an additional confidential report. Is there anybody wishing to speak to this in closed session? Seeing not, then on the report, I will call the vote. I need a mover and a seconder. Mayor Carter, seconded by Councillor Leahy. Call the vote now. All those in favor? In opposition? Seeing none, that carries. There are no notices of motions. There's no unfinished business. Announcements. Oh, questions to what? We did that a second ago to committee, but is there a particular committee you have a question to? To which committee?
Sorry, one to you, one to economic development.
Well, depending on the question, will depend on what.
Okay, so my suggestion being to economic development, Simon Gill and his team, I know our team will be doing it. I think we should be reaching out to David Patterson in Washington to be able to have a conversation in regards to his interpretation of what may affect the automobile industry here locally. And I know Mr. Patterson has a great deal of knowledge locally, but also at the same time that he may be very helpful in regards to our inquiries and maybe a strategic aspect of it. So I just ask you to take that under consideration.
Well,
If you need, I've got Mr. Patterson's personal number.
We'll take that as direction. So we'll take that as direction. Can you
Great.
share,
Simon's shaking his head, yes.
Yeah, Simon's shaking his head.
and share
Yeah.
David's phone number with
Yep,
Simon?
I
please?
will. Now,
Okay.
the second thing, Mr. Chair, is your letter of September 1st, 2023 to the Prime Minister, Mr. Poilievre and Mr. Singh. I know that we haven't received a response from them, but you'll be happy to know that Mr. Poilievre stood in the House yesterday stating that he is quite serious about this crisis that we're facing across the country. I'm encouraging both yourself or whoever else you feel appropriate to reach out to Mr. Poilievre, because it seems that for the first time in a year, he actually understands that there is a crisis that's happening across this country, and maybe we could get some reaction from Mr. Poilievre when it comes to the opioid crisis.
So as far as I understand, there is a meeting in the works already,
Yes, sir.
but I can't tell you when and where.
That's fine, but I just thought I'd bring it up
But
because
I also wish the other two leaders would take the time to reach out to us as well.
I would too, but I know that they're more tied up in regards to $250 checks, so I know that that'll be well. So.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, I appreciate the opportunity.
Thank you. Councillor Yamada.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just a few days ago, I had the opportunity to join MPP Lauren Coe, Minister Piccini, Regional Councillor Chris Leahy, and East Ward Councillor Victoria Bosnowski for an announcement at Melly's Market and Cafe. They received $596,000 from the Ministry of Labour, Immigration and Training and Skills Development through the government's Skills Development Fund. This was a terrific opportunity and announcement for Melly's, which is right here in Whitby. The government support will continue to break down barriers, create opportunities, provide mentorship and pathways to sustainable employment for adults of all abilities. So this Skills Development Fund is helping a lot of people across the province, and I think the announcement at Melly's was a fabulous one, and that's going to give people with disabilities the opportunity to reach their full potential. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
And members of council and staff, if you've not been to this little cafe, it's located just on Brock Street, south of Roslyn Road. It will be the most a joyous experience for a cup of coffee that you've had in any restaurant that you've ever been able to attend. This is a cafe that trains young people with challenges and gives them real life experiences, and it will truly be an enjoyable event for you. And if you choose to go and you'd like me to buy your coffee, set up a time and I'll meet you there, and we can enjoy a cup of coffee or a cup of tea together. And it is an experience that you will truly enjoy. We have Councillor Miriam Pietri.
Yeah, I wanted to make an announcement. Obviously, we have a number of post-secondary institutions that play huge roles in our communities, and in Oshawa, we have Ontario Tech that is a leader in the automotive industry. And on Monday, they were able to recognize our friend, a good friend, who collaborates with individuals like Dave Patterson and should be reached out to as well, Flavio Volpe, for his work on Project Arrow, and receiving the President's Award from Dr. Murphy, and essentially the positioning of the auto sector and its future, and with that, obviously, the components that come with it, and the industry's evolution, not just in Canada, but globally. And it's a huge, indicator for what the region and the city of Oshawa is in store for moving forward. So congratulations to Ontario Tech in recognizing Flavio Volpe with that honor. I know that the day after, it was kind of like a prelude to Trump Part 2. He hosted, I think, close to 30 interviews worldwide on the auto sector, and it was definitely fitting that the day before he was recognized by Ontario Tech. So I want to make that announcement. If anybody wants to look up who that individual is, I encourage them to do so and to reach out and to encourage him and his organization to continue helping us in Oshawa and the region and Canada advance the auto sector and the industries that are related.
Councillor Mayor Pietri, on a side note, I understand that you might have played hockey with a pretty famous Argonaut.
Yeah, that's the only claim to fame that I would have. Definitely happy to see that Grey Cup in here today and see the name of a Durham Region resident, an Oshawa athlete in Andre Talbot. And I know that we've been visited a number of times by Pinball. And he's had fond and great memories and obviously complimentary things to say about Andre. He was the goalie of our hockey team, and he's still very active in the athletic world. So I appreciate you recognizing that. Graduate of Monsignor Paul Dwyer, and a proud Saint, and obviously a Grey Cup winner. So thank you.
Councillor Neal.
Yeah, I guess since we're dealing with the Grey Cup and sports, also Freddie Freeman, who was the MVP for the World Series that just was over not too long ago, and with the Los Angeles Dodgers, his parents were actually married in Oshawa. So there's something that was announced right across the American TV networks, and it was surprising to hear, but I thought I'd bring it up here today since we're dealing with some celebrations in people that are in sports in this area. Thank you.
Councillor Shahid.
I am very excited to invite all of you to Whitby Santa Claus Parade. So Whitby Santa Claus Parade has been held on the first Saturday of December for over 50 years, and it is organized by the Optimistic Club of Brooklyn in our Whitby, in our town, and it is on Saturday, December 7th at 10 a.m., and I would like to invite all of you to cheer for Santa, because he's arriving in Whitby, December 7th and 10 a.m. We'll be walking, so if you want to join me and walk with me, Chair Henry, I would love that.
Thank you. Thank you. Mayor Wadden, don't you have somebody who's going to make a special visit to your community later that same day?
Santa Claus Parade. I believe it begins at 6 and leaves from the Port Perry Fairgrounds and makes its way down Simcoe Street onto Queen and then along Water Street. So it's a lovely event as well, and the lights on all the floats are quite enjoyable to see. And my understanding is the big guy's making a fast dash for Whitby to ours. So.
Yeah. Mayor Schumer.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. On the topic of parades, Cannington's is this Saturday at 11 o'clock, and Sunderland will be next month on the 14th at 7 p.m. And on the topic, I'd just like to thank all the organizations in our various communities that host these parades and bring Santa to town. So thank you very much.
Well said. Members of council, I do want you to be aware that today is a busy day for the region, but outside of the region, Mayor Foster is attending an announcement related to the nuclear industry today. He represents as president of CANAC, and Mayor Ash is in Ottawa on the same file, on the nuclear file. Today's announcement will continue to show that Durham and Ontario is the energy capital of the world. Those are all of the announcements. Mayor Barton, I believe you have the bylaws.
Yes, I do, Mr. Chair, and thank you very much. So moved by Councillor Barton, seconded by Councillor Butt, that bylaws number 2024-050 to 2024-053 inclusive be passed.
Okay, on the bylaws, polls? In that case, we'll call the vote. All those in favor? In opposition? Seeing none, that carries. Mayor Barton, you also have the confirming bylaw.
I do. Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. Moved by Councillor Barton, seconded by Councillor Butt, that bylaw number 2024-054 being a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of the Council of the Regional Municipality of Durham at its being held on the 27th day of November be passed.
On the confirming bylaw, all those in favor? In opposition? Do we have Councillor Lee online? We do. Okay. Councillor Butt, the business for the day is completed. Mr. Clerk, I just need a motion to adjourn. As Mayor Ash's representative, would you make that motion, please?
Chair Henry, I would love to adjourn the meeting.
Thank you. Councillor Lee, I'm looking for a seconder on the motion for today's meeting. We can't hear you. Okay, there we go. That's yes. So, on the motion to adjourn, we'll call the vote. All those in favor? In opposition? Seeing none, that carries. To members of council, thank you. To staff, thank you. And I wish you a safe day.